Spread your wings and fly, go!
Yo, what is going on YouTube? This your boy Kamen Zero Spike back again once again. And today, people, we're here for Zenkaiger episode 43. Now this is a pretty good episode. Wasn't like they balanced the serious and the silly together, and it made a lot of sense. And it was actually really good, and it was a very centric Zox and his family based kind of episode. And it was also kind of like a proper send off to them. They didn't die, but they they left this dimension. So wow, I didn't think that would happen. I felt like that would happen like at the end of the series really, but wow, it's gonna feel weird without Zox and the crew, man. It's gonna feel weird for a while, but hey man, this main team's still here, so I'm good. I'm not really, but I'm trying to be good. But they see this episode as a Zox centric episode. We basically start off with Bokuwas and Gigi, and this was very weird. This is a weird scene because Zox, or like Bokuwas is talking to Gigi about he doesn't know what he's gonna do because there's so many traitors now. And like we got traitors in the midst, and the Zenkaiger is so hard, like just annoying. And we see that he talks to Gigi, and he says something to Gigi, and Gigi's like, "Well, Gigi has like a regular voice, but Gigi," he says, "You don't want attention. It's like you don't want attention from me anymore." And then Gigi was like, "I don't." And then his eye, he does the eye thing where he like switches consciousnesses. Said it right, and his voice changes, but this is a different voice. This feels like a very different voice than the one that he had before. I might be tripping, but it feels like a different voice than before. And he talks to Bokuwas about, hey, there's a Toji Tendo that I want to try. And it was weird. It was I had to watch this scene like 3 times to try and understand what in the world this bird did. But I don't know, man. Like, I feel like Gigi was back to his normal self, and he was kind of acting like a regular thing. But when he changed voices and stuff like that, it just happened. So is this the same person that's inside of Stacy, or is this somebody else? I don't know, because when he did it, when he switched, we don't know if that's the same one in Stacy, because they didn't show it. They didn't show Stacy coming back to his senses, and then that voice talking to Bokuwas, and then switching back into Stacy. We didn't see that. We don't know what happened to Stacy at that moment. So maybe it's a different person, or maybe he can split his consciousness and maybe put like a piece of his self inside of Stacy, while also keeping his full self. I don't know. We'll find out later on, but still, Gigi is still inside of Stacy throughout this episode. So we go to we see Zox and Flint. They're eating some food, and that's when Gon and Varun come up and they talk about this food and stuff. And then the Toji Tendo pops in, and that is SD World. And SD World is basically what Zox and them are looking for. He's the one that he's the one that they're looking for. And I don't know, like, he's the one that they're looking for, and he's basically the world that when Zox and them went to SD World, that's how Ricky Katana got turned into SDs, and they've been looking for him to basically liberate him, and they eventually go to SDtopia to find a way to turn Ricky Katana back into themselves. So he sees this, and they're fighting, and they fight him and stuff like that. But Zox is like, no, I'm gonna take him out by myself. He gotta die. Like, I'm the one that's gonna beat him. And he also has like a SD beam where he's able to turn people and Kikanoids into the same thing Ricky Katana are, but not exactly them. because like they're like a little bit smaller little toy figurines, and they can't really like control their bodies or whatever, except for our Zenkaiger. But yeah, like they get turned into these little toys and stuff. And they're really cute though. Quick, like side note, I want these. Like I want all 5 of them. They're just adorable. Like I want them. Like these are really cool. I hope they sell these for real, because man, that was the toy commercial part. People getting turned into these little robot toys and stuff. That's basically the freaking toy commercial part of this. So he uses the SD beam, and he turns some people into that. We see that Varum and Gaon get turned into it. We see that when Kaito and them come up, we see that Majin gets turned into it. Juren gets turned into one. Juren gets turned into one while he's trying to save Majin from getting turned into one. And and then something happens to where Varum and Gaon get blasted off like freaking Team Rocket, and they have to go find them. And a bunch of other people are getting transformed into this. And then that's when Zox tries to transform, and SD World uses his beam on Zox's Gatlinger, or his Morpher, and it turns really small. It turns really small after he uses it, because Flint basically kind of got in the way. She was shooting her gun at SD World, and SD World tried to shoot her, and that's when Zox jumped in the way of it, and his Morpher gets transformed basically into an SD, which is basically just a little basically just like a little miniature version of his Morpher, which is still fully functional. Still fully functional. He just can't put gears in it because it's too small. But yeah, so after that we see Kaito. He ends up using the Die Ranger gear. He summons Die Ranger Green, and Die Ranger Green makes a train, and they all jump on that train and escape out of there. So everybody kind of comes back together, kind of regroups. Gaon and Varum are still missing, but it's Majin, Kaito, Jiren, Zox, Ricky, Katana, and Flint, and they're talking about how they're gonna basically defeat him. But Zox goes on this thing about I'm gonna take him out by myself, because I can't go all out if the other 3 of you are there. Talking to Flint and Ricky and Katana, basically saying, yeah, like I can't go all out if y'all are there, so I need y'all to stay out of this and stuff like that, and y'all just can't be here. And he says the same thing to Kaito and Majin and Jiren. Like I'm gonna beat him on my own. I don't need nobody else. I'm gonna beat him on my own. And that's when Stacy, air quotes, that's when Stacy comes up and basically says that, oh, do you like the gift that I gave you? And they talk to Stacy for a while. He talks about how SD World, if you basically defeat it, you could find a way to turn your brothers back into humans, and how SD World is and the world that y'all are from basically is all humans and stuff like that, and that's why y'all world was destroyed. So yeah, so Stacy leaves, and they go back. We see that Zox has no powers or anything, so he goes to fight SD World on his own. He's looking for him. And that's when Kaito goes off to find Varum and Gaon, and they're also finding regular people in Kikanoids who've been transformed. We see like them going around the city, picking them up, finding them, and bringing them back to the candy shop where Kaito's grandmother is. And we see Kaito. We see he sees Zox there, and he talks to Zox about you can't just push everybody away and try to fight him all by yourself and stuff like that. Fight him by yourself and stuff like that. And Zox basically tells him that, look, I have to beat him on my own, because our dad, like our old man, died protecting us, and I don't want like anybody to die trying to protect me and stuff like that. And Kaito's like, no, that's not fair, stuff like that. And that's when he ends up finding he ends up hearing Varum, and Varum's like tied to a balloon, and he's floating off. And this is after he found Gaon. Gaon was stuck in a net because a bird dropped him. So he goes off to go save Varum, and that's when Zox leaves. So Zox ends up finding the SD world, and it's raining for some reason just to make it dramatic. And he has like he has like a pirate sword, and he has like a shot. He has like not a revolver, like he basically has like a shotgun. And he goes off and he's fighting SD World by himself, and they're fighting in like this pool kind of watery area, and he's not getting his butt whooped. Like Zox is holding his own against this guy. He even summons like some some Kudaks. He summons some Kudaks, and he summons like the bigger grunt kind of Kudaks, and Zox is fighting them, and he's handling them pretty good. Like, he ain't really getting his butt whooped like that. He ain't really doing that much damage, but he's holding his own. Like, he's trying to. And that's when Kaito shows up. Kaito gives us like a heart-to-heart talk and stuff like that, and the rest of the crew is there. Yeah, the rest of the crew is there. They transform. Also, Flint and Ricky Katana, they show up too, and turns out like Flint basically gave him back his morpher, but she made a tiny gear to put inside of the mini Gatlinger, and put inside the mini Gatlinger, and it has like a shrunken kind of Alvin and the Chipmunks voice and stuff. He still does his regular dance, but just with the mini Gatlinger, which was funny. He transforms, and they end up fighting SD World. They take out SD World. And also, the rest of the Zenkaiger, they can still fight while they're in their SD forms. They can still morph and stuff like that while they're in their SD forms and stuff. Like, we actually see them taking out the Kudaks and stuff. So I'm just like, what? I'm just saying, like, what? It was funny. It was funny for real, but I was like, that's weird. Gotta keep some of the silly in there. So they go back, and they ended up destroying SD World by using Zox destroys SD World by using the katana, using the Ricky form, the physical fighting form. He ends up using that and end up beating SD World. Then we see the advanced Kudai Dest. We get an ultra. We get a 3D battle. We got the CGI. The CGI mecha fight. They transform into their Ultra Zord to fight the Kudai Dest, and he basically turns like the whole city like basically like colorful. And he has two beams now. He has a beam where he will make things grow. He has a beam that can shrink things. So he ends up crushing them in between two buildings, and he ends up shrinking them, and he ends up chasing them throughout the city, trying to step on them. And that's when they bring in Crocodile. The rest of the Zox and them bring in Crocodile, and Crocodile shoots a big old blast at him. That's when giant Ricky Katana come in. They do a whole bunch of attacks on him and stuff like that. We see that the rest of the Zenkaiger, even though they're shrunken, they're still able to use their ultimate attack on him. Didn't kill him, but they used it. And then that's when Zox and everybody else finish him off. That's when, all the effects and everything are gone, stuff like that. And Stacy, well, not yet, but we see them saying goodbye to Zox and everybody, basically saying that they're about to go to SD-topia to try and turn Ricky and Katana back human. And also we see Ricky and Katana get shot with the SD beam and it doesn't affect them, and they actually use that to their advantage during their fight. And they talk about how, like, it's okay, we're still very used to these bodies and stuff like that, but they're still looking for a way to turn them back human. And when they that's when Zox and the rest of the family, they leave to go to SD world, and we see Stacy sitting there, and he's like farewell, little pirate, it's time for you to go back home. And he pulls out a gear, the dark gears, shoots it, and basically releases a world, basically sets a world free, and it was a pirate ship world. So most likely that was Zox and his family's home. So yeah, so their home dimension is free now, I guess, and that's basically the end. And that's where episode ends right there. With Stacy looking off into the horizon. And also Zox, before he leaves, he tells Kaito that he said, hey, you can't trust Stacy the way he is now, because they still know that Stacy's like not himself. He's possessed by somebody or something. And I like how they, like I said the last episode, I'm glad that they figured that out. Like Kaito, everybody else was able to figure that out. I'm glad they didn't keep them dumb on that type of thing. But yeah, episode ends off right there. In the next episode, seems like we'll be dealing with a Toji Sendo that deals with bad fortunes. So yeah, but overall, this is a great episode. I really like the attention to the gold tank, Zox's family, stuff like that, and it would be pretty cool to see them basically get their own episode that involved all of them. We had them before, but this one was it. And it was a good send off to them. So yeah, but other than that, this was fun. This is a great episode. I like this a lot. But you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about this episode. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Remember, stay henshin.